Hi everybody, my name is Naomi and I work for the Institute of Urban Ecology at Douglas College. Now that's kind of a funny job title. What do the words urban ecology mean? Well, the word urban means a place where people live, just like here where you live. And the word ecology is a type of science that studies how all the living and non-living things in an area interact. And we call those areas ecosystems. So my job is really special because I get to come and work with people just like you and raise awareness about the nature in our cities. Now I'm a scientist. I am an ecological scientist. And yeah, I look just like a normal, everyday human being. Not all scientists wear the white lab coats and safety goggles all the time. We can look just like you and me. And today, you are all going to be ecologists as well. And we're going to get to go outside and study our urban ecosystem. Now, scientists, I'm going to be asking you a lot of questions. If you don't know all the answers, that's okay. Just try to give them your very best guess. Teachers, feel free to pause the video at any time to give your class more time to think or brainstorm. Students, if you're following along from home, I encourage you to do the same. And now with this workshop, you're going to have a bingo card like this, where you're going to get to go outside and explore your urban ecosystem. If you're working from home and you don't have one of these bingo cards yet, just ask an adult to email us and we can email one to you. Now scientists, believe it or not, before your neighborhood was urbanized, that's what we call it when people move in, the natural ecosystem that we live in is called the coastal temperate rainforest. So the man-made ecosystem is the urban ecosystem, and the natural ecosystem is the coastal temperate rainforest. Wait a second, I thought a rainforest looked more like this, and it was like all the way down in the Amazon, somewhere tropical and hot. Well, you actually only need two things to be called a rainforest. Want to take a guess? Pause the video now and give it your best guess. Are you ready for the answer? It's hiding right in the name. In order to be called a rainforest, you need 1, lots of trees and plants, and 2, a lot of rain. Now raise your hand if you think that we get more than enough rain here to qualify as a rainforest. Absolutely, we do. But there's 2 other things that make the coastal temperate rainforest extra special and different from, say, the tropical rainforest in the Amazon. It's a really, really unique ecosystem that we live in. So pause the video now and see if you can guess those other 2 things that make the coastal temperate rainforest so special. Are you ready for the answer? Again, it's hiding right in the name. So our coastal temperate rainforest has, yes, a lot of plants and a lot of rain, but it's also really close to the ocean. That's what that word coastal means. And the temperature here is really mild and cool, which is what that word temperate means. Good job, scientists. Now, when most people think of a rainforest, they think of a tropical rainforest like this. But over here, we have a picture of our temperate rainforest like here where we live. What looks the same in these 2 pictures? What looks different? Pause the video now and maybe make a list of the similarities and differences that you find. You probably noticed that in both pictures there are a lot of plants. There's lots of shorter plants down on the ground and then taller trees as well. But they're different types of plants because the temperature in each ecosystem is different. Ours is a little bit cooler again, which means that there would also be different animals living in these two rainforests as well. So believe it or not, you are living right in a living, breathing, growing, real rainforest. Now, a lot of that rainforest has been lost to make way for more new roads and new buildings, but there are still pieces of that coastal temperate rainforest scattered amongst our urban ecosystems. So you're going to get to go explore it with this fun bingo card. But in order to win, you need to know what some of these things are. So we're going to go over all the pictures really quick. Before we get started with the bingo card, there's two words that you need to understand first: deciduous and evergreen. Now again, because we're in a temperate rainforest, we have all 4 seasons here. We get spring, summer, fall, and winter. In a tropical rainforest, it's always warm, so it's always just like summer. But here, when the temperature starts to get a little bit cooler, like in the fall, some of the trees start to change. Their leaves change color, and then they fall off, and then they'll grow back again in the spring. We call these types of plants deciduous. But some plants don't lose their leaves in the winter, and they stay green all year long, and we call these types of plants evergreens. So if you're watching this video in the fall or the winter, you might have a hard time finding some of the deciduous plants because their leaves have already fallen off, but you can still check the ground to see if you find any of the leaves lying on the ground. So let's start in the top left corner with the ferns. The coastal temperate rainforest has lots of different types of ferns. They look like this and usually cover the ground of the rainforest. Ferns need a lot of water to stay alive, so a rainforest is a perfect place for them. Most ferns are deciduous, but some are evergreen. So in the spring and summer, finding a fern should be easy, but it could be a little bit trickier in the winter and fall. Beside the picture of the fern is a plant called salal. Salal is one of the most common types of shrubs in the coastal temperate rainforest. It also helps cover the ground like the ferns do, but salal is evergreen. So no matter what time of year, you should definitely be able to find salal. Salal has thick, stiff, evergreen leaves, and in the spring, it'll have some small pinkish white flowers that in the late summer will turn into dark purple berries. Beside the salal, we have a picture of a red cedar tree. This is one of the most common trees in the coastal temperate rainforest. Red cedar trees are also evergreen. The bark of the red cedar looks kind of papery and striped, and almost like you can peel it off into thin strips. Red cedar also has these flat, scale-like needles. Douglas fir is another very common evergreen tree in the coastal temperate rainforest. It has long, pointy needles like a Christmas tree, though, and its bark is thick and lumpy, not smooth like the red cedar. You can also tell the difference between a Douglas fir and a red cedar tree by looking at their pine cones. So down here, we have a picture of some Douglas fir pine cones. And you can find them either look way, way up in the tree branches, or often you can find them lying on the ground just below the trees as well. Now, Douglas fir pine cones are big, and they have these 3-point bracts that stick out from their scales. Some people say it looks like the little back feet and a tail of a mouse hiding in the cone. Red cedar pine cones are much smaller, and they don't have those little mouse tails and feet, and they also have fewer scales. The big leaf maple is another very common tree in the coastal temperate rainforest. This one is deciduous though, so in the fall, look for these big maple leaves on the ground. You might also find the maple tree fruit, which look like this: helicopters. These helicopters are actually the fruits made by the maple tree, but this is not a type of fruit that we eat. There are also lots of animals hiding in the coastal temperate rainforest. Again, because we have the 4 seasons here, some of these animals, like the bees, may not be around during the winter, but you should still be able to find the squirrels, crows, and even some ground beetles all year long. Because people also live here, you might also find some litter in the coastal temperate rainforest. Always check with an adult before picking up any litter and use safety gloves or tongs to put it safely in the trash. This next picture is an invasive plant called English ivy. Now, invasive plants are plants that do not naturally belong here in the coastal temperate rainforest, but they live here now because of people. Sometimes these new introduced plants can live peacefully with the natural rainforest, but sometimes they can also cause problems and threaten or hurt the coastal temperate rainforest. When a new introduced plant becomes a problem like that, we call it an invasive species, and English ivy is one of those invasives. This square here is something called a nurse stump. A nurse stump is the stump of a dead tree that has new plants growing out of it. It's very common to find in the coastal temperate rainforest and can provide a lot of animals with shelter and a safe place to live. When you find a nurse stump in your forest, take a close look and see what else is living inside. And the last square on the bingo sheet is kind of a freebie square if you can tell me or your teacher where the rainforest is. So today we've learned about 2 different ecosystems. There's the urban ecosystem, which is man-made, and there's also the coastal temperate rainforest ecosystem, which is a natural ecosystem. And now the tricky part is that we live in both, and people sometimes forget that we're also a part of this coastal temperate rainforest ecosystem. Humans, our homes, our actions, our choices, they not only affect the urban ecosystem we live in, but they also affect the rainforest ecosystem. Before I go, I want to thank you for joining me and helping to protect our urban ecosystems. Remember, you are the scientists now. You are ecologists, and you can help protect our urban ecosystems too. After you come back from playing bingo outside, maybe you'll have time with your class or your friends or your family to discuss this question. What are some things that you can do at home, at school, or just outside when you're playing with your friends that can help protect both of our ecosystems? Remember, you are the scientists now, so I bet you're going to come up with some really cool ideas. And so good luck out there, ecologists. And until next time, bye for now.